Honey, you're the cutest piggy bank in town.
Yeah.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 men in old Hollywood films who give major red flags now.
We're not gentlemen, and we have no honor, have we?
For this list, we're looking at the most problematic leading male characters from the golden age of Hollywood films. Which of these classic love interests would set off your warning bells? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Curly McLean, Oklahoma. The audience's first introduction to this confident cowboy involves a stop at love interest Lori's farm. Curly wants her to know that he's ready to take her to that evening's box social. Of course, he never actually asked her to go with him.
We want to ride alongside of you anyway.
Why don't you grab her and kiss her when she acts that way, Curly? She's just aching for you two, I bet.
I won't even speak to him, let alone allow him to kiss me. The bragging, bow-legged, wished it had a sweetheart bump.
A heartbeat later, he's making fun of the hired hand Judd, who he sees as a rival. When Lori goes with Judd instead of him, Curly flirts with other women to make her jealous. He also suggests to Judd that he should take his own life to see how many people like him enough to go to his funeral. This immature, rude, and frankly vile behavior makes it clear that Curly has a lot of growing up to do, to say the very least.
Get off the place, you! Anna, make him get himself out of here!
Number 9. Frank Butler, Annie Get Your Gun.
You shouldn't be fooling around with a old piece of junk like this. You could get hurt. Well, this thing's liable to explode and blow your ears off. You give this back to your pappy and get yourself a couple of knitting needles.
When this sharpshooting star of Buffalo Bill's Wild West show meets the scrappy Annie Oakley, he finds her ignorance charming. She's infatuated and impressed by Frank, and he likes that even more. However, their romance is quickly thrown off the rails when Annie proves to be not only a better shot, but a more popular act in the show.
Well, don't try too hard, honey, because it ain't gonna be there next week.
Why ain't it?
Well, that's show business. I give you a few extra tricks to do, but they don't rate star billing. Even I don't get that.
It'd be great if Frank eventually overcame his insecurities and appreciated Annie for her skills and spunk. Instead, Annie pretends to lose a shooting contest to save his ego and win her man. We're not sure we'd call that a true happily ever after. Or even a mediocre ever after.
Henny, you don't know what you're doing.
Oh, yes, I do!
Ow! Honey!
Just ain't no use. I ain't the champion anymore. I'm only second best.
Number 8. Rhett Butler, Gone with the Wind. Although Rhett Butler does seem to appreciate Scarlett's personality quirks, he has some serious flaws as a romantic lead.
You're a conceited, black-hearted varmint, Rhett Butler. I don't know why I let you come and see me.
I'll tell you why, Scarlett. Because I'm the only man over 16 and under 60 who's around to show you a good time.
Butler's instinct is to mock and tease instead of revealing his true feelings. Throughout the film, he simultaneously belittles and compliments Scarlett, so it's not surprising that she struggles to believe he cares for her at all. However, what turns us off the most is how he forces himself on her.
You low-down, cardly, nasty thing, you! They were right. Everybody was right. You aren't a gentleman.
Later on, he forcefully kisses her again without consent in order to get her to stop talking. It only gets worse from there. After they're married, she rejects him. So he picks her up and carries her to the bedroom despite a very ambivalent response from her.
You turned me out while you chased Ashley Wilkes, while you dreamed of Ashley Wilkes. This is one night you're not turning me out.
Nothing about that is okay. Number 7. Gaston Lachey, Gigi. The romantic lead in Gigi is introduced as a wealthy playboy who's bored of his glamorous life.
Life is thrilling as can be.
Simply not my cup of tea.
It's a gay romantic fling.
If you like that sort of thing.
It's intriguing.
It's fatiguing.
It's a game.
It's the same dull world wherever you go.
He's so disaffected that he realizes his current mistress must be seeing someone else because she's too happy to be thinking only of him. His charming reaction is to humiliate her in public.
Gaston! Gaston!
There is nothing more to be said. Goodbye, madame. From the bottom of my heart, goodbye.
Later, when Gaston realizes he's in love with his childhood friend Gigi, his behavior towards her is more possessive than romantic. At best, this rich playboy is moody and cranky. At worst, he's narcissistic and only interested in women when they do what he wants. Either way, we are not impressed.
You told Grandmama that you wanted to take care of me.
To take care of you beautifully.
Beautifully, that is, if I like it.
Number 6. Jerry Mulligan, An American in Paris. Gene Kelly's starving artist Jerry does not seem interested in improving his artistic abilities. He also objects to being sponsored by the beautiful and wealthy Milo.
I don't need a paid escort. And I'm not trying to rob you of your precious male initiative. I'm simply interested in your work, and I want to get to know you better. Now, is that such a crime?
Well, it certainly is a roundabout way to do it.
This contrarian behavior seems to be the foundation of his character. Even though he's on a date with Milo, he flirts outrageously with Lise. When she says she's not interested, he continually pesters her for her phone number. Despite her shutdowns, he later tracks her down at her job.
What can I do for you?
You know what you can do for me. Go out with me.
How do you know I'm not married?
Well, that finger on your left hand is awfully naked.
Oh, Kelon. You know it's a pity you don't have as much charm as you have persistent.
Meanwhile, he continues to string Milo along. The single-minded pursuit despite rejection and disregard for the feelings of others is anything but endearing. It's just a bad sign of things to come.
Monsieur, I don't know what type of girl you think I am, but I'm not. And now I would like to return to my friends.
I thought you were bored with him. You sure looked it.
You should see me now.
Number 5. Adam Panoply, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. In this musical comedy, Adam, a 19th century backwoodsman, leaves his isolated home and heads to town to snag a wife.
Any special brand?
Well, yes. I like best a widow woman that ain't afraid to work. There's 7 of us men, me and my 6 brothers. Place is like a pigsty, and the food tastes worse.
He's confident that any available, good-looking, hard-working woman will say yes to him. He's even willing to pay her way through cooking school if necessary. What a nice guy! Adam eventually marries Millie, but doesn't tell her about the house full of grown brothers she's expected to serve. Later, Adam convinces his brothers that they should kidnap the women they want to marry.
There was these sobbing women down in town. So what'd the Romans do? They went down there and they carried them off. You can't do as good as a bunch of old Romans. You know, brothers of mine.
He assures them that the ladies might act angry, but secretly they'll be happy about it. We could not want to stay further away from this guy.
You think a wife is just to cook and clean. You got no understanding, you got no feelings. How could you do a thing like this?
Number 4. Joe, Some Like It Hot. We're willing to give Joe some slack for initially concealing his true identity from bandleader Sugar. After all, he and his friend Jerry pretend to be women and join the all-girl band to hide from the mob.
I tell you, it's a whole different sex. What are you afraid of? Nobody's asking you to have a baby. Is it just to get us out of town? Once we get to Florida, we'll blow this whole set up.
Unfortunately, Joe passes up many opportunities to come clean. Instead, he uses the ruse to develop a pretend friendship with Sugar.
If there's ever anything I can do for you,
I can think of a million things. That's one of them.
Then the shady musician creates a fake millionaire persona and tells a series of lies about his wealth and prestige. Even worse, Joe claims he suffered psychological trauma that makes him impotent and uninterested in women. If Sugar wants to marry into his money, she has to prove she can cure him of this problem. All we can say is, ew.
You don't want me, Sugar. I'm a liar and a phony, a saxophone player, one of those no-good-nicks you keep running away from.
Number 3. Stanley Kowalski, A Streetcar Named Desire. When the recently poverty-stricken Blanche goes to stay with her sister Stella, we aren't supposed to swoon over brother-in-law Stanley. He's portrayed as coarse, violent, and demeaning. He physically mistreats his wife and sister-in-law and justifies it by saying he's protecting his family.
Who do you think you are, a pair of queens? Just remember what Huey Long said, that every man's a king, and I'm the king around here. And don't you forget it.
When he forces himself on Blanche and then has her put in a mental institution, it's pretty clear he's not meant to be a classic romantic lead. However, Marlon Brando's portrayal has romanticized the character quite a bit in our culture.
You showed me a snapshot of a place with them columns, and I pulled you down off them columns, and you loved it. Having them colored lights going. And wasn't we happy together? Wasn't all okay that she showed here?
It doesn't hurt that the actor was at the height of his macho good looks. Despite the dark charisma Brando gives him, Stanley Kowalski isn't a guy you want to add to your dating roster.
I hope they haul you in and turn a fire on you like they done last time. You stinker.
Number 2. C.K. Dexter Haven, The Philadelphia Story.
Sometimes for your own sake, Rhett, I think you should have stuck to me longer.
I thought it was for life, but the nice judge gave me a full pardon.
In the opening scene of this romantic comedy, The audience is given a glimpse of Dexter and Tracy's marriage. As he leaves with his suitcases, she disdainfully breaks one of his golf clubs in two. Dexter's response is to rear back his arm as if to punch her, but then grab her face instead and aggressively shove her through the door before he storms off. For the rest of the film, we're supposed to root for him as he tries to win her away from a new wealthy fiancé.
Well, I suppose I should object to this twosome. That would be most objectionable.
The chemistry between Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant is undeniable, but their characters clearly have unresolved issues. Unfortunately, the violence in their earlier relationship makes it hard to think of their remarriage as a happy ending.
Dexter, would you mind doing something for me?
Anything what?
Get the heck out of here.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. Harold Hill, the Music Man. The wiser girl will definitely be sadder if she chooses this con artist.
How can ignorance be compared to bliss? I spark, I fizz. For the lady who knows what time it is, I cheer and I rave. For the virtue I'm too late to save. The sadder but wiser girl for me.
Paul Varjak, Breakfast at Tiffany's. A leading man who gets disturbingly possessive when rejected.
What, do you think you own me?
That's exactly what I think.
I know that's what everybody always thinks, but everybody happens to be wrong.
Well, I am not everybody.
James Bond, From Russia with Love. Bond girls are there to serve the spy however he deems necessary.
Barbara said for you to decide. So decide. They're both yours. This might take some time.
Bill Calhoun, Kiss Me Kate. A man who loves gambling more than his girlfriend.
After all the things you told me and the promises that you gave, oh, why can't you behave?
Nathan Detroit, Guys and Dolls. A gambler who continually promises to marry his girlfriend and then bails.
You promise me this, you promise me that, you promise me everything under the sun, but you give me a kiss and you're grabbing your hat and you're off to the races again when I think of the time gone by.
Adelaide.
And I think of the way I try.
Adelaide.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Henry Higgins, My Fair Lady. Although Professor Higgins is helping Eliza improve her status with elocution lessons, he doesn't really see her as a human being. Instead, she's the fascinating subject of his experiment.
The question is not whether I treat you rudely, but whether you've ever heard me treat anyone else better.
Like a true narcissist, every one of her victories is attributed to his own genius. Not to mention, he continually ridicules and insults Eliza, and women in general.
Why is thinking something women never do? But why is logic never even tried? Straightening up their hair is all they ever do. Why don't they straighten up the mess that's inside?
Although the Bachelor does miss her when she leaves, he doesn't appear to learn anything from the experience. When Eliza returns, he treats her exactly as he did before she left. Sadly, it seems likely that he'll notice his slippers more than the girl who'll be fetching them.
Here are your slippers. There! And there! Take your slippers and may you never have a day's luck with them.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.